Now, welcome to Local God. This is the intro music because we have none to put here now. Yeah. We're really going to have to fix that later. Hello, my name is Spot, and welcome to the Local Gods podcast. I'm here with my co-host, Horath the Drak.
Hello. Hey, Spot. For the listeners, what do you do?
I'm a human. I live on Earth, in America, in Connecticut, actually. And I'm a YouTuber, although I haven't released a video in a while because I've been working like a fucker. And there's that. What do you do?
Yeah, I'm also a YouTuber. I live in Germany, in Bavaria. And I've been releasing a couple of videos every day.
A couple?
Yeah, some, like 4. But I couldn't manage to pre-record all of them last week. So this week is going to be a little bit scarcer for the first couple of days until I can manage to catch up.
I see. I remember when I was young, and I asked my mother, I don't know how old I was, maybe 10, and I said, Mom, can I have a couple crackers out of the fridge? And, it was in between meals. And she's like, yeah, you can have a couple. And I went and I got 4. And she got mad. Not real mad, but she's like, that's not a couple. And I'm like, well, how many is a couple? She's like, a couple is 2.
Oh, right.
So if you're releasing 4 videos, that is not a couple.
Right. Okay. All right. What are you drinking? What are you drinking, man?
Oh, man. I actually forgot to pick up more beer. I know it's like a cardinal sin or something. So I'm drinking, and have been drinking, vodka and orange juice.
All right.
I guess that's actually a screwdriver.
That's solid. Solid.
Yeah.
Solid choice.
And I'm far past the point of actually feeling it.
This bodes well for the rest of the podcast.
Yes, it does. I have a theory. There are successful podcasts, and then there are non-successful podcasts. And I think the primary difference is the non-successful podcasts spend the majority of their time talking about all the cool stuff before they actually start recording. And I think that's what we're doing.
Yeah, that could definitely be our thing. Maybe that should be the podcast name instead of Local Gods. We talk about all the cool stuff off, far away from the mic.
Yep, there you go. Off mic. The Off Mic podcast.
Well, I'm drinking Weltenburger Kloster Barock Dunkel, a German beer from a very old brewery. That brewery exists since 1050 in Bavaria.
Wow.
It's close to where I live currently. I'm going to move back to Munich in a little bit. And I've already had 2 of them. So 1 liter all in all. And I got a third one coming. It's going to be fun.
I feel for entertainment value, I should try to actually pronounce that beer, but I'm not going to.
Yeah, German can be difficult. So can English, though.
Yes, it sounded like... Yeah. Yes, but English can be different in a very strange way. Like, English can be different in a... That just doesn't make any fucking sense. Whereas German is different in a way of... That's a Frankenstein word. They took 18 words and they put them together. Like the name of that beer. I don't...
No, those are separate words.
Are they really?
Weltenburger is Weltenburger Kloster Barock Dunkel.
And what do those mean?
Weltenburger means that's the place where it's situated, the brewery. So that is close. That is somewhere on the Danube, right? Kloster means monastery. Okay. Barock means what is that? Before the Renaissance or during the Renaissance, there was sort of an art style that was Baroque, right?
Oh, right.
And then
yes.
Dunkel,
I know the term.
Refers to that this being a dark beer, so it's somewhat more earthy, a little bit sweeter, and a little bit heavier than normal beers like lagers or stuff like that.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. Well, those are 4 words.
Very nice.
We
Okay.
don't mash everything together, but most things. Shall we get...
I just know every time I try to learn German, it's like, okay, and here you go, and here's the next word. And it's like, I'm like, I've seen those 5 words before, but now they're all one.
They can be. They're very gregarious.
That's great. So what have you been doing this week?
Yeah, I've been playing a lot of the new CK2 DLC, Monks and Mystics.
How's that going?
That came out on the 7th. Well, pretty good, actually. Shall we do this now? Shall we do the games thing in this?
Sure, go
this
for
section? Yeah, so Monks and Mystics introduces sort of new secret societies, like monastic orders, but also more interesting societies like Lucifer's Own.
You mean monastic orders that make beer?
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah,
The good ones do that. And so I've been playing a duke, a normal count in Bavaria, with some satanic ambitions, trying to join Lucifer's own, some devil worshippers, and trying to become emperor. And
I love how leisurely you say satanic ambitions.
Yeah, that's my thing. And so I've been having a lot of fun with this. I've already my character is a cannibal. He's also possessed, and he's already eaten his first wife and a bishop.
Oh my God! Wow, that's hardcore.
Yeah, and
that's quite impressive.
I'm now the high priest of Lucifer's own, and I'm slowly but surely working my way up in the world by being a devil worshipper. It's hilarious.
Oh my God! Wow, that's awesome. So wait, do the game mechanics actually support that?
Yeah, they've gone full on crazy mode with this. So they've really given you sort of mystical powers, like you can summon demons and familiars and try to take over people with by sort of making them possessed by a demon. You can kill your wife by doing a dark divorce, and you do all this by sort of getting dark power stuff and then spending that dark power with on certain diplomatic actions.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah. And then you rank up in these societies, and the higher you rank, the bigger your powers become, the more powerful.
Wow.
Wow. It's hilarious.
I'm kind of like, wow, go Paradox. Holy shit.
Yeah, I'm really liking that they're going for those DLCs, no holds barred.
Yeah, wow.
You can turn it off, though. You can turn it off. You can't even turn off the devil worshippers and all that. If you don't like that sort of mystical, supernatural stuff, like they already did the Sunset Invasion DLC, right, where the Aztecs would sort of invade Europe a while ago.
Right, yeah.
And you can turn that off as well, so it's all optional. But I really like it because the medieval times always feel like something like devil worship should actually be able to have effects, right? It seems like to be sort of a more magical, mystical time.
Well, yeah, because that's pretty much how the Catholic Church made it out to be. So yeah that makes a lot of sense.
Exactly. So I'm really happy with it. It has been hilarious.
That's awesome. I may actually have to go back to Crusader Kings. I've actually shied away from CK2 just because it's kind of like medieval soap opera. But yeah, that's actually really cool. Although I have to admit, I have a weak space in my heart for all the CK2 shirts. You know, all the ones like the family tree of assassinated and those are great shirts.
You can do horrible things to your family, and I've been doing my fair share of them.
Of course you have.
Yeah, not me personally though. It's role playing. It's all role playing. I would never do that.
Oh, of course. Yes, absolutely. So, have you just been playing CK2 or anything else?
No, I've also been playing Avorion.
I've heard of that.
That's still in early access. It is a procedural sci-fi spaceship builder and simulator. I've been watching a lot of Let's Plays from that by Antilism, and most importantly, Lathrix. He has a YouTube channel named Lathland.
Nice.
He's been doing a really good video with that. He's cutting away a lot of the I don't want to call it grinding, but sort of like the downtime that you have. So you're basically flying around in space, and you can mine asteroids, and then you can build your own spaceships like down to the block. And that's actually really cool because you have a lot of creative freedom and all that. And the basic thing about the game is that you play in the whole galaxy. It's all compartmentalized in little sectors. And there has been sort of a cosmic event a while ago that basically created rifts in space. And the closer you and the center of the galaxy is sort of closed off, right? You can't get there, and there's sort of an alien race in there doing some mysterious thing. And the closer you get to the center of the galaxy, the more valuable the minerals become that you can find, that you can build your spaceship out, and the more powerful your spaceship becomes, and the more
that's cool.
Powerful also the enemies. So Yeah, you've got to basically try to get to the center of the galaxy to find out what happened and to make your spaceship as big as possible. And it's really cool. It's still in early access, but it has sort of gameplay mechanics that are way more fleshed out than stuff like No Man's Sky, for example.
That's really, 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 really cool. I like that as you get closer, stuff gets higher in value.
Yeah, it's a really cool mechanic.
Nice.
Because you have sort of risk and reward. You can have whole fleets of people, of ships. You can build stations. Like it has its whole own economy. Like you can build, I don't know, a water farm and then deliver that water to another station that is like a dairy place. And
oh yeah, I like industry.
So basically,
industry is good.
Like the X series or something. It's really nice. I like it.
Now you're talking my language there. I like that stuff. Hardcore. Wow. Well, I've been playing, let's see. I finished Mankind Divided. Yes, I know I'm late. For anyone who's listening. I know I'm late. I know. I've been working.
That can happen. That can happen.
Yeah, I know it can. I've been playing this new game called Northgard? Northgard.
Oh yeah.
It's a base building game with Vikings. Although the Viking part isn't.
It's not fully fleshed out, yeah.
It's not really that apparent. There's some slight UI tweaks that are missing, but man, I mean, as far as like overall aesthetic, I love that game. It's like gorgeous. And it has some really interesting mechanics, which I'm not sure don't exist, but I personally have not seen anything else. Like, there's actually like sectors or zones where you can build buildings, and each sector only supports a certain amount of buildings. And then to unlock another one, you first have to have a scout, which goes and actually kind of like peers into the distance on like a timer, and unlocks that sector as far as visibility is concerned. And then you have to spend food to colonize that sector of the map. And then when that's done, you can actually build buildings in that. But again, every sector has a certain building cap on it. And there's certain special things in each sector, so a lot of times you're going. It's weird. It feels like a normal base building RTS that was married with a board game, and it's actually really nice. I like it a lot, and it's in early access, and I'm actually looking forward to what they're going to do with it in the future. It's actually quite nice. It's very good.
Yeah, I've playing a bunch of it when it just prior to the early access release. And I got a distinct sort of Settlers vibe from it. Did you play the early Settlers? That is sort of the same feeling that I get, but with some modern UI and some modern elements to it. Not too much micromanagement, but you sort of do have to send your people to do sort of resource gathering and all that. I really liked it.
Yeah.
It has some promise, but it is pop culture Viking stuff, right? So
yeah, very much so.
The Vikings have horns.
I knew you were going to bring that up.
Yeah, I have to though. Who puts horns on their helmet? It's not a real thing. Yeah, right. It goes back to Wagner. Wagner actually invented the horns on the helmet for one of his operas, and that has stuck apparently. The real Vikings never did that. There's only one helmet that supports that, which was found in the River Thames, and that was a ceremonial helmet, most likely. Because it doesn't make any sense. If you have a horn on your helmet, any person hitting you with a sword or something is actually going to deliver a way more serious blow. Instead of the weapon just glancing off, it's gonna get hooked there, and it's gonna either hurt your neck or something, or pull the helmet off.
That's a good point.
Yeah. Makes no sense.
Valid point. Yeah. So just kids, understand that when you go to play Northgard, enjoy it, but understand you're experiencing a false version of Viking history.
Yeah, you're experiencing a lie. That's it.
a lie. A quite enjoyable lie, which I'm looking forward to seeing, future patches to.
Yeah.
But a lie nonetheless.
No, it's actually a very enjoyable game. It's short at the moment, but the developers have promised to sort of deliver more clans with different game mechanics and all that. You can pledge allegiance to one of the gods, and then you have sort of mythical creatures in there, the Jotuns, the giants and all that, which you can either attack or bring to your side by trading with them. It's really nicely done, and it has a very unique art style to it. It's really promising.
and I really like the season mechanic. You know,
Yeah,
how
yeah,
you have
indeed.
to kind of like stockpile food for the winter, and during winter your food production is lower, and your wood production or your wood demand is higher because of firewood, for example. And actually, it's one of the first RTSs, and this may just be me being out of touch, that I've actually seen with a tech tree in it, like a real tech tree that really impacts like the gameplay.
Yeah.
And not just like unlocking things.
Yeah, that's true.
Like things that you can build.
Yeah, that's true indeed. Yeah, I haven't seen the tech tree stuff done much in other RTSs. Although I'm not playing too many real RTSs. I'm more the Paradox RTS kind of guy. Pausable real time.
Yeah, pretty much like Grand Strategy. Yeah,
I've been actually criticized
interesting.
for that one. I did a Cossack 3 Let's Play, and I had viewers comment, "Dude, you can't stop pausing all the time to give the commands, and you're taking the challenge out of it." Mind
dude,
you,
I pause all the time.
I was playing on the highest difficulty, right? So I was playing on Impossible, and I still...
Oh, you have to pause then.
Yeah, because I'm talking
Oh, yeah.
all the time. I have to explain what I'm doing. If I don't do that, I'm gonna lose. It's just not a thing, but yeah, anyways.
That's what so many people don't understand, is that when you're when you're commentating a game, there's a certain percentage of your mental energy or your focus which is going to commentating, as opposed to actually playing the game. So
Yeah.
you have to actually, counterbalance that with pausing the game more, which makes more sense. Yeah, I've actually been watching myself, which is somewhat masturbatory, I guess. I don't know, but I've been watching myself. It's for the first time. I never watch my own stuff like full through, but I've been watching my Oldenburg EU4 play from a long time ago, like back in 2015, I think. Mm-hmm. It's funny that 2015 is a long time ago, quote unquote. But yeah, in that game, I'm like, I started as Oldenburg, and I expand a little bit, and then I get a coalition, and I get everything taken away from me. But then I start expanding again, and I end up pretty much forming Germany. And the only reason I didn't keep going is that at the time, EU4 didn't have the option to continue playing past, what was it? Well, what is it?
1815. No, 1821.
1815.
1821.
1821. Thank you.
Right. Yeah.
Yes. And I keep thinking while I'm watching, I keep thinking, man, and I keep pausing it. I pause all the time, right? Anytime anything pops up that I need to show focus to, that I'm not looking at the map, right?
Yeah.
I pause, because that's how I play EU4. Yeah. I play that way even actually when I'm not commenting, when I'm not recording. Mm-hmm. I keep thinking to myself, man, I'd like to play another game of EU4 and another Oldenburg game in EU4, and try to, form Germany again and just keep going. And then it hit me, I'm like, actually, now you can't, because in that game, of course, I'm using France and Poland and Denmark as hammers on my side. And now, over and over and over and over again. And now you just can't do that.
Yeah, that option is completely gone. You're using France as your big stick to beat everyone. Or Austria, also a popular choice to do that inside the empire.
Yeah, so true.
Yeah, it's more strategic that way, though. You have to sort of build rapport with them, gain favors, engage in their wars, and then once every 30, 40 years, you can pull them into one war of your own. But it just makes more sense. Why would a
it
big
really
power
does,
like...
yeah. It's just really annoying when you're trying to take over the fucking world.
France, please, I need this. Could you be a little bit more supportive right now? I need you to take over the world, and you're not making this easy.
See, I think that France already had a counterbalance in that, and that being a close ally of France meant that you were involved in every little fucking war that France had.
Yeah, that's
and
true.
It was France, so they don't go in and they were like, okay, I have enough. That's what I want. I'm good. They would go in and they would blanket. Literally, they would carpet siege everything, and they would sit on it forever.
Yeah,
until they could get exactly what they wanted. And you'd be stuck in that war the whole time. And of course, they wouldn't come into another war because they're already in a war. So I think that there was a counterbalance with France, but with everyone else, I understand.
I was a huge fan when that sort of update dropped. I think it wasn't Rights of Man. It was way earlier. I think the Cossacks is what it was. What introduced this sort of mechanic.
Yeah, I think so.
I'm really happy that the allies are sort of more calculable.
Reasonable.
Yeah. It's just better if you know what you can expect from them.
Yeah. No. Yeah, I agree with that. Yeah, absolutely. So that's nice.
Shall we talk about the food mechanic just a little bit? From Northgard, you said that you have to store food for the winter, right?
Sure.
And I'm really happy to see that in more games, right? You've seen it in, if you remember, Settlers 2, and I think Settlers 1 as well, just had you sort of to feed the miners inside the mines with bread. Everyone else didn't eat.
That's right.
Yeah, and then you had Age of Empires 2, forcing you to actually produce food or your people would die. You had to sort of bring up a constant need of food, but it still didn't have any seasons. And nowadays you have games like RimWorld, Dwarf Fortress as well, and also these games that are sort of more and more pushing for more realistic ways to actually feed your people. I'm really liking that. It adds a lot of realistic elements.
Yeah, I like it.
Yeah, and then it's also, it sort of is a game system that creates realistic decisions on your part, because you're not likely to start a war in the winter in Northgard, because your troops are going to consume more food and they're going to fight worse in the winter if you don't take certain technologies, because they're cold and all that. So that's
that's right, because outside of your territory during the winter, your warriors actually perform worse.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm really
unless you get a technology.
Yeah. I'm really happy to see sort of those more realistic systems actually penetrate games. I like that. Right, that's just my my 2 cents on the topic.
No, I agree completely. And Northgard does it really well. It's a very simple mechanic, but it actually adds to the realistic aspect of it.
Yeah. Did you play anything else?
Oh man, have I played anything else? I played the first hour of Battlefield 4.
Yeah.
Because it was on sale on Origin. That was all.
Okay.
Not much else. I'm looking forward to, because I'm a nerd, I'm looking forward to Mass Effect Andromeda, which is coming.
Yeah.
So looking forward to it.
I got burned so hard with Mass Effect 3. The ending of it. 2.9 great games in the Mass Effect series. 0.1 games are absolute dog shit. I could have written a better end to this story while sitting on the toilet. I'm not sure what happened there, but do you want to go with the green space magic or the blue space magic or the red space magic? And now they're sort of admitting that by going for, none of that mattered anyway. We're just going to be somewhere completely else.
Yeah, pretty much.
It did piss me off quite a bit. So I'm going to wait on that. I'm going to be cautiously optimistic, but I'm not going to buy it until I see some reviews and some Let's Plays and they got to prove to me that they got a good game that doesn't just take a huge dump on anything. What infuriated me the most actually with Mass Effect 3 was that do you know what the indoctrination theory is?
No.
So that was sort of a way of the fans to sort of save the shitty ending of Mass Effect 3 before they sort of made the extended ending, right? And the indoctrination theory basically said that Shepard himself had been indoctrinated by the Reapers, so that the ending was just something that you saw because you had already been indoctrinated, and there had been lots and lots of sort of evidence been put together to make that plausible. That was super plausible, right? And then the extended ending came out of that, and that extended ending said just, no. Indoctrination theory, that's gone. So the fans hand BioWare a way to get out of their self-created mess on a silver platter, and they just say, no, we are the authors and the creators, so that's not going to happen. And that really pissed me off. It devalued all that I invested in that game.
Actually, what's funny is that where did the extended ending come from?
Bioware.
No, I mean, like, was it a DLC or was it in the Game of the Year edition or what?
There were two parts of this. There was, I think that one was free. The game, the extended ending. So they sort of reworked the stuff and sort of made a bigger end sequence where you saw what your actions would cause. Still not enough payoff for sort of a series that spanned 3 parts where you had been really invested. And then they also made the I think it was called Leviathan DLC also. Where
I remember that.
Met the race that actually created the Reapers. That was really cool. That was really
cool. I agree completely.
Yeah. But the ending, it still pissed me off. So I'm gonna wait and see.
I understand. Yeah. I just enjoy world building in general. Even, I think, detached from the narrative of a specific series of games. I like that world in general. It's really interesting. So I think that's where I get the majority of the value out of the whole saga for me. So I'm definitely going to have it on launch. My only question is my GeForce 1080 Ti going to ship before it arrives?
Let's hope so.
I really do hope so.
Are you the person that reads all the codex entries?
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, yes, absolutely. Yeah.
We are like in that regard then.
Yeah.
World building is great. I love that universe, which made it hurt all the more.
That I can understand. Absolutely. Yes, absolutely. I can understand that completely.
So the Utopia DLC for Stellaris and the Mandate of Heaven DLC for EU4 are both coming out on April 6th. So that's going to be a very momentous day.
They're both coming out on the same day?
Yeah. Maybe to screw over YouTubers that are trying to cover them both. It's going to be a very long day for me. I mean,
that seems very unparadox.
Yeah,
that's weird.
Yeah. Now, maybe it just happened. Or maybe it's Paradox recently went with the initial public offering. They are now publicly traded. Maybe it's something to do...
Wait, Paradox IPO'd?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
A couple of months ago, actually.
Oh, wow.
So maybe it's something to do with their fiscal year. Maybe that's so they want to put these releases in a certain quarter, and that's why they're bringing it out at that time. I don't know.
Yeah, but even a week apart would be better than the same day.
I don't know. Maybe it just happened that way. Generally, Paradox are very nice to YouTubers and anyone that is sort of making fan-made stuff like mods and all that. So I doubt that it's really to annoy us. But it's gonna be a lot of work hours to cover both of these. Because they actually
sounds like it, yeah.
Yeah, they're quite big changes. I mean, the Utopia DLC is sort of going to allow you to build mega structures, like the ring worlds, for example, that only fallen empires could have. You can build them now yourself. Where you're gonna, if you build a ring world, it's gonna eat all the planets inside the system because you're gonna use them to build the ring world. So in the end, you just have the sun and the ring world around it, even if the system prior to that had a lot of planets in it. So that's pretty cool. Oh, and then you can build Dyson spheres around the suns. So they're going to produce a crap ton of energy credits. Like I think 400 is the number that was mentioned. But all the planets that were habitable in this thing, in the system, will become ice worlds because they just don't get the sun because it's all being sucked by the Dyson sphere that's built around the sun and all that. So I'm really looking forward to those things.
Oh, that's cool. That's really badass.
And the U4 DLC is going to sort of introduce the new ages system. So you have the Age of Discovery, and then I think it's the Age of Reformation and the Age of Absolutism, and I'm missing one, but I'm not sure which one. And you can fulfill certain things in those times, and get certain bonuses. It's going to be interesting as well. And they're going to do a lot for Asia.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about that. Actually, when I was reading that feature list, I was like, that's weird. Is Paradox going for like a Civ type, almost Age of Empires? They have those very specific ages, those compartmentalized. Here's the type of tech that happens in this age, and this tech happens in this age, and then you upgrade or whatever. I don't know how they're going to handle that. It seems kind of odd for them to go that direction.
Yeah, I got the Civ vibe as well from these ages. It does certainly remind one of that. yeah, they always had that in a way, because you were going through the tags, and certain events were popping up at a certain time anyways, like the Reformation was always happening at around the same time frame. It's maybe not that bad an idea to actually make that sort of visible and overt, instead of having it hidden in event chains that just gonna pop up. If you know that you're in the time of absolutism, then maybe you should try to give people more rights and more freedoms and all that, instead of just keeping them down until they go ahead and execute you publicly.
That's a good point, though. Actually, yeah. If they're already managing those types of mechanics in the background, it makes sense to expose them or surface them in the main game.
Yeah, and that's been sort of a strategy that they have been following with a lot of the DLCs, and I'm really happy that they're doing that. EU4 has become an amazing game through all the DLCs that they've been put out there over the years, sort of making whole mechanics new and all that. I dig it. I'm looking forward to it.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. It's weird. Every once in a while I think about, like, wonder when they're going to start working on EU5, and then I think to myself, well, really, why would they? I mean, like, they keep doing expansions, which, pretty much expand on a great game already. It's weird. It's almost like they're viewing their products as a service as opposed to a product, right? Like a one-time product.
Yeah.
Which Paradox has been pretty good for a while on, but that's cool. Awesome.
Yeah, it certainly worked for them. And I mean, there are people that are criticizing this sort of DLC model, where they're bringing out the DLC and they say, oh, I can never own the full game. But on the other hand, the games are definitely getting better with this sort of strategy. And as long as they're doing that, I'm fine for paying a couple of bucks every couple of months, because development time does cost money. So yeah, that's just
true.
That's just how it goes.
Yep.
And I think they're going to sort of reach an endpoint when the interface is completely filled, right? That's. I've read a developer interview why they actually made EU4 after EU3, and they said we had reached a point where we couldn't cram any more systems into the old interface. There was some stuff that was hard coded, and they couldn't get around that. So then they decided to go for EU4 when they sort of reached the end of that space. Maybe they're going to reach that with EU4 as well. So that might be the thing.
I can see that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Absolutely. I look forward every time I hear about an EU4 or CK2 or, I would say Stellaris, but there hasn't really been one yet. But every time I hear about an expansion about to drop, I'm like, ooh, what new did they add this time? Which is great. Because Paradox has this thing where they don't, I mean, sometimes they'll just add on, but a lot of times they'll like to take a existing system that's been there for a while, and they'll just rip it open at the belly and be like, yeah, we've pulled out this because it didn't work, we put this in, and and sometimes they'll come back and they'll change it completely, like the fort system.
Yeah, okay, but that needs to go. That's just an abomination. I
agree.
They mean well. It's a great idea, but the implementation is just bad. It's just bad. I'm not sure if I'm really happy with the fort system. When they were announcing it in the dev diaries, I was, yay, this will finally give land countries some staying power when they are in a war. Like Prussia, for example. Prior to that, you have no staying power. If your army was gone, you were effed.
Yeah.
You were really fucked. And but the implementation of that sim is just odd, because you can never divine where you can go and where you can't go.
They still need something to provide that staying power, but that wasn't it.
Yeah, it wasn't.
Didn't work.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Absolutely.
I'm happy that they're always sort of accompanying these DLCs with a free patch that sort of gives you some basic features and expands the game, even if you don't buy the DLC.
Yeah, it's awesome.
That is a nice touch, and I think that's also one of the redeeming features for this kind of DLC policy.
Yeah, I agree completely.
Shall we move on?
Yes, let's move on to some news, actually. Something that I did not see this coming, and I probably should have. Amazon is actually going to be moving Twitch into selling video games. Like they're actually going to be selling them, like when you're watching a streamer play a game, you can buy that game on Twitch.
Yes.
And there's like pros and cons of that. Obviously, convenience is a pro. And also, supposedly, they're going to be offering like exclusive type bonuses and stuff in those games if you buy them off of Twitch. But I'm sorry, I should throw in there. that the streamer themselves, him or her, will get a piece of that sale if it happens on their stream. So at first, I'm thinking to myself, you can't really trust what that streamer's saying about that game because there's a conflict of interest. And of course, then there's the whole thing of, but really, isn't there always a conflict of interest? Because you never know if that streamer's being paid to play that game in the first place. What do you think?
Yeah, I think the conflict of interest has always been there. I mean, if they're being paid to stream that game, they do have to disclose that, though, don't they? I mean,
I don't think so. Do they?
The FTC has clear regulations, at least for YouTubers. If you're doing it in YouTube, on YouTube, like if I make a sponsored video for whatever thing, I have to disclose that it is a sponsored video at the beginning of the video, not just in the description, and ideally also in the title. So there are some FTC rules that you're going to break if you just do a stream without disclosing that you're actually being sponsored for this. But I'm actually happy that it's sort of out in the open. I mean, yes, on the one hand, you got that conflict of interest, but it's an overt conflict of interest, yeah? So if someone is going to buy the game from a streamer, they know that the streamer gets a certain percentage, and it's a good way to support people. I mean, that conflict of interest in the long run, people are always going to punish someone who actually sells out his audience. That is sort of the highest good that you have as a YouTube, Twitch streamer, media person. And if you're going to betray your viewers, then you're going to pay for it.
No, I agree. That's true. I think that with stuff like this, it's better to know about it, or at least have it blatantly said than have to wonder. You have posted in the show notes here that they're actually going to release a desktop client?
Yeah, it looks like they're actually going to do that, which I'm not happy about. I think that's going to severely limit the popularity of this thing if you have to go away from Steam and actually launch those games with another launcher. I'm not looking forward to that.
They're using the Curse app as a rebrand.
Yes.
That makes so much more sense. I was like, okay, so I can totally see why Amazon/Twitch would want to acquire Curse in general because they have a lot of eyes in their online communities and things like that. Mm-hmm. But it seems a bit of a small buy for them unless they have significant plans for it. So this makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, I mean they're trying to become sort of serious competition for Steam, which is good, right? I mean Steam has nearly a monopoly, especially if you go for sort of indie sales and stuff like that. And pure PC titles, they have a lot of market share. And it actually wouldn't hurt if there was a competition that kept them, I'm not going to say honest because I think they are honest, but I mean a little bit more up on their toes, trying to work for the customer more.
As Total Biscuit says, competition is always good for the consumer.
Yes, I think that's true, even if we might not be happy to use another launcher.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, and Amazon is obviously very serious about the gaming space. They bought Twitch. They have their own gaming studios that they're doing. They have their own mobile platform, sort of.
Their own engine.
But they also have Lumberyard, which is a fork of CryEngine, I believe.
Yep.
Yeah, so they're pushing pretty hard. They know where the butter is for their bread. They're not hesitant to spend money to get there. And again, as we just said, competition is great for the consumer, so I'm good for that.
Yeah, I am as well. And actually, I wouldn't mind if something like the buy game button would be on YouTube as well, because I do get not a huge amount, but a fair amount of people that are saying, all right, I bought the game because of you, because I saw you play it, or because you explained it in a way or something.
Yeah, I've got that too, and it would be very nice if we could actually see stats on that.
Yeah,
right. If we could actually see, the person clicked the button because you were playing the fucking game. That would be amazing.
Yeah, you can try to sort of track that with going for custom links and then saying, oh yeah, so and so many people have gone through that link, but there's no way of saying if a person actually clicked the buy button. And I mean, sort of giving something back to the content creator. I'm all for it. Obviously, I'm biased since I am a content creator.
Absolutely, but yes. Did you hear that the city, just to be clear, not the federal government of the United States, but the city of Washington, D.C., they're actually sponsoring, who was it? It was, I'm familiar with the team, but they're sponsoring an esports team, and they're building an arena, which is obviously can be used for anything, but primarily it's being built and pitched as an esports arena, which is really awesome.
Are you sure though that is being pitched as an esports arena? From what I saw that, I saw that news, and from what I read, this looked more like we're gonna build a basketball arena, but we're also gonna sort of make it suitable for esports on the side. Didn't look like that was the main focus of it, was it?
It may not be. My whole thing is, as far as esports, especially in the United States, right?
Yeah.
For even a major city to come out and be like, yeah, even as a secondary thing, we're targeting this arena to be for esports is like a pretty big thing. I mean, it really is. Like esports in the US is big, but it's not like, as far as the public awareness and the public acceptance, it's not anything like South Korea, for example. This is actually really interesting from my perspective. Actually, out of curiosity, how is like the esports like in the public space? Not like if you're already into esports, but in the public space, how is esports viewed like in Germany?
Yeah, it's very niche. You see,
right? Yeah.
You saw some of it in MTV had a gaming show called Game One that they canceled like I think a year or two ago, and they did some esports reporting on that, but it's not really being looked after because the media landscape in Germany, you have sort of the private sector, but you have also a huge sector that is sort of being financed by, let's say the people. You have no choice, but you're paying a flat rate to sort of keep those stations alive. And
kind of like in the UK and the BBC.
Yeah, right. And they're all run by old men, and they have no idea what's going on. So that doesn't really happen, even though it actually draws people, and you have like huge things here, like the Gamescom and all that stuff. But I don't think that many Germans know that actually. I think about 45% of our population are gaming in one form or fashion. So like, I mean, mobile games are obviously counted into that, but it's a huge number, half of the population. But esport, it doesn't really happen in the public eye at all. How's it in the US?
It's about the same. Yeah, it's about the same, which is, again, why it's really interesting that Washington, D.C. is actually, even as a secondary, like you said, even if it's like, well, it's a basketball arena, but we are taking into account esports. That taking into account part is actually pretty badass, right? It's like, wow, okay. But they're also sponsoring NRG Esports, which is an established esports team. And I'm like all for this. I'm like, awesome, you know. As you and I both know, it's a cultural thing where people are like, well, they're not getting out there and crashing their bodies together and getting concussions, so obviously it's not real sports. And you're like, well, these people are using their brains just as much or more in some cases. I mean, I don't want to say that like hardcore athletes aren't smart. I think a lot of them are actually really smart and able to do what they do. But I mean, like, so as much or more than like what would be considered quote unquote real sports.
Yeah.
I'm actually very interested in seeing stuff like this.
The good thing about infrastructure is always that if you build it, it's there, right?
That was very deep, by the way.
Yeah.
That was very deep.
You'd expect that from a philosophy major. Yeah.
Yeah, there you go.
No, the thing about infrastructure is, I mean, even if it doesn't get used like they thought it would at first, like if this all is just a fad, right? It's still going to be there, and people can use it, and then maybe it can grow from a lower level and be used in the future.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, the whole thing is that I don't think it's a fad. And I don't say that just because I'm a gamer. I mean, I'm going to be 38 this year, okay? I'm old, okay? And I'm old enough where I remember playing video games meant that you were a nerd and you didn't have a girlfriend.
Yeah.
And you lived with your mother and you wore thick glasses and blah, blah, blah. That was just an assumption, right? Because anyone who played video games was someone who was antisocial, right? And they didn't have any friends except other nerds who played video games. Mm-hmm. And now everybody and their fucking mother plays video games, right? I mean, which is awesome.
Yeah.
And I think that esports is just the next bleeding edge of that wave. It's that pretty much, as far as a species, we pretty much take anything that a lot of people do, and we like to find people who are really good at it, and we like to pit them against each other, and then pretty much bet on them. Whether the betting is based on money or just reputation, right? Or whatever. That's just the thing. speaking of something that impacts us both, you more than me at the moment, considering that I'm not putting out any videos at the moment, Steam, and, well, I'm not going to actually state my opinion on this yet. Steam is actually null and voiding any game reviews from people who got a free copy of the game. What do you think?
So you're letting me go first. That's nice.
Yes, I am. I'm so nice.
Yeah, right.
I'm a gentleman. Thank you very much.
Since the Steam curator system has not been great in any form or fashion, I don't think it's offering any benefits. I've largely been ignoring that, so it won't change much for me. I see where they're getting with this. They're sort of trying to stop companies from handing out codes just to get favorable reviews, but it is sort of a problem that let's say media person, right? YouTubers and Twitch streamers get free keys as well. So my review, and I could actually offer one on a lot of games, would sort of be null and void just because I received that code for free. I mean, on the one hand,
right,
that's going to be annoying. On the other hand, I see where they're trying to get with this. I mean, you're also null and void if you just write a review without having bought the game from Steam. So if you're gonna give a review, might as well be there. They're still showing the reviews of people that have gotten the game for free. Oh, well, good.
Right, it just doesn't apply to the overall rating.
Right.
On the top, right. So when you say it doesn't matter to you, are you talking specifically about the fact that you don't really post reviews anyway, or are you talking about when you go to buy something on Steam, you don't pay attention to the review?
No, I do look through the reviews.
Yeah,
but I
do as well.
I thought about going for more reviews if I get code and all that, but now there's no incentive for me there. I mean, it's gonna cost me time. Let's say I need half an hour to sort of write a proper review that sort of reflects what's in the game and what the stuff is. I mean, at least half an hour, maybe an hour, right? If you're diligent, if you're a diligent person, I'm going to invest that hour somewhere else. And Steam's review system is going to be poorer for it. But maybe that is sort of offset by the fact that they won't have to deal with games that are just trying to garner favorable reviews by giving out codes for free and trying to those games that only exist to give you Steam trading cards, right?
Right, yeah, agreed. I actually think it's great, honestly, but at the same time, I'm the type of person that I have a background working in social networks, and my entire mindset in job is like when somebody brings up a feature set, I'm like, how could that be abused? That's like pretty much my first thought, right? And so this looks like a mitigation of abuse, which I automatically like. I also, and I think that you're the type of person who would probably agree with me on this, there's no way, even a little bit, that receiving a free code is not going to bias you somewhat. I think that it's probably a little bit of a overkill thing, but from a user systems design perspective, I don't see any better way of doing it, without putting significant load on Steam for having to get into the details of every little bitty thing. I personally like it.
I got one thing. I mean, I'm happy that Steam is showing if a person got a key for free, right? But that would sort of already do away with the problem of the bias. If I do a video, I always say in the beginning if I got the code for free, and if I don't, I bought the game myself. Or I got it.
Whoa, hold on. They're still showing your review, though. What they're doing is a lot of people, like, I will admit, for the most part, unless it's a really expensive game, I don't go through reading the reviews hardcore on, like, a $15 or $20 game. I look at actually, I will say real quick, if I go to a game and it's not something that particularly piques my interest, like a sci-fi something that's just, like, right in my wheelhouse, if it's mixed or below, I just move on.
Right.
I do. Which obviously what they're trying to address here are people who are giving too many good reviews, which are not correct. So that wouldn't really apply to this. But if it's mixed or below, I usually move on. So, and if it's good, I actually sometimes will just buy it on a whim, just because it's like, well, a lot of other people like it, so that's great. Because mainly I understand that usually people who dislike it are going to bitch and post reviews more than people who like it. And so therefore, you're more likely to get a bad review than you are to get a good review overall. And so this actually helps me in my buying process.
Yeah.
Maybe that's selfish. I don't know. Is that selfish?
I don't know. I mean, that's what the system is there for, right? And in the end, I mean, right, $50 for a game are a lot of money, right? If you're going to work for that, that's like 2-3 hours of working time that you could have spent in some other form or fashion. But at the same time, it's not a life-changing decision if you buy the wrong game. And especially now that Steam has a refund policy that you can use and that is somewhat generous, under 2 hours and all that. So yeah, I think you can leave it like that as long as good games don't just get buried. But they have their own way of getting attention and stuff.
That's true. Yeah, I can see that. Well, I threw this on the list just because I was on the road and I saw it. I'm like, that'd be something fun. So I'm going to mention it anyways. Okay. So, by the way, there is a minor spoiler here from The Last Jedi. It was released on a Disney stockholders call that the first words of Luke Skywalker in the new Star Wars film
Stop. Let people go ahead a minute or two.
Yeah, no, you can go ahead.
Right.
Okay. Luke Skywalker says to Rey, his first words in this is the only spoiler. His first words are, "Who are you?"
Yeah.
So, what's your take on that, Horath? Are you part of the group who kind of assumed that Rey was Luke's daughter?
Yeah, I honestly, I did.
Well, okay, hold on. This doesn't mean that she's not.
No, it could be sort of a philosophical question about find out who you are and all that.
Or she's grown a lot since the last time he's seen her and doesn't know.
No, I'm not going to allow that because Luke is...
You're not going to allow that. I would like to actually throw a little break in here. And every once in a while, when we're recording, I'll be like, I need to stop and go pee. And Horath will be like, I'll allow it. He actually says that.
I could actually use a break and go pee right now.
You need to pee? Okay,
yeah.
Okay, go for it.
So shall we get back to the whole allowing thing? I'm not gonna allow Luke not sort of recognizing his own daughter because he is, I mean, let's say he is the son of the chosen one and the one who brought the Force into the balance and all that. So he's insanely gifted in terms of in the ways of the Force and all that. Yeah, he's a Jedi master. How could he not recognize his own daughter? I mean, there's a precedent, right? So Darth Vader not recognizing his own daughter when he talks with Princess Leia on board of her own Corellian Corvette and all that. But he's a Sith, right? So he's not really schooled in the ways of, or maybe he is. I don't think he would not recognize his own daughter. So I think that theory is out of the window.
So you think that Vader on the Corellian Corvette at the beginning of Episode 4 did actually recognize her?
No, I don't think that. But that's because he's a Sith at that point, right? So he's not really trained to work in that specific mode, I guess. He's not really in a mode of recognizing things. He's in a mode of hatred, fueled
That's
on...
true.
Yeah, he's fueled on hatred all the time. So there's no time for contemplation and all that stuff. That's going to make you weak in the eyes of the dark side. The Jedi are all about contemplation and about...
I think that had more to do with the fact that Vader was a Sith warrior. Even Palpatine thought he was not actually that intelligent. I'm not sure that Palpatine wouldn't have actually noticed that she was. But I mean, I think that Sith-wise, the Sith actually had a lot of people who were very big on contemplation.
Yeah, there's that streak in the Sith, right? Like
I may be a little bit more of a Star Wars nerd than you, though.
We'll see about that. So you have the challenge accepted.
Challenge accepted. Go ahead.
So you have the whole streak of Darth Plagueis the Wise and Exar Kun and all these guys that are sort of trying to
Darth Raven.
Yeah, to hide themselves from the eyes of the world around them. Vader is not a part of that, right? Vader is living on fear and hate and all those strong emotions. So he's not a
guilt.
Yeah, he's not a guy for contemplation. And when he finally starts to contemplate, he dies from the effects of it. So maybe he should have stayed away.
It's a very good point. Yeah, I don't actually know. It's weird. I'm one of those few Star Wars fans, and I've read like so many books, and I really love the universe, and I love the world building and all that stuff. At the same time, I don't like it's weird. I'm like, I don't really care if she's Luke's daughter or not. I mean, until it's made clear or not, right? I mean, that would be fine. But if she's not, that'd be fine too. But yeah, interesting stuff. I'm Please tell me I don't have hiccups. Please tell me I don't have hiccups.
That's the first one though, but it's hilarious.
That would actually make recording a little bit difficult. All right, good. Okay, so I don't know what that was. Yeah, but it is interesting.
I mean, you gotta say, from a business point of view, buying Star Wars was the savviest move they could ever make.
Oh, also, yes, and they paid far too little for it.
Yeah, I think that too. I would have sold my soul to get it.
Oh, yeah, $5 billion for the Star Wars franchise?
Screw
Are you
it.
out of your mind?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I've been around people who had something grand. I mean, granted, not Star Wars grand, but had something grand, and they were just done with it, right? And they're just like, I just want out. Mm-hmm. And I think that's where Lucas was. But I mean, like, if you just, from a business perspective, again, if you looked at Disney and what they did with Marvel, you would know what type of potential profits there were in Star Wars. I mean, I think, honestly, that Lucas could have probably got $15 to $20 billion for that.
Easily.
Easily. Yeah.
We're totally in agreement on this, because you have a universe that means so much to people. They're willing to beat themselves up over it. This is an amazing thing. I mean, the same thing is true for the Mass Effect universe and the Star Trek universe, in a way. Those are all sort of, they've grown organically. It's actually amazing that Mass Effect managed to reach such a state in a very short time. But I put that down to sort of them taking the best of all of these universes. You have sort of the Spectres being the Jedi above the law and their own class of people, and you have really distinct alien races that a lot of these television things couldn't even make, because they didn't have the ability to go for something like the L-Core that have the high gravity and that can only go for
because it cost a fortune.
Yeah, right. But I think that was their thing. But if you were trying to create something like that now, you're going to come up against certain archetypes that you have to steal from people and all that. It would be very difficult to go for something like that. So I think something that is established like Star Wars or Star Trek must be worth a lot. Just think about the books, the games, not only the films, all the merchandise that you can put out.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I think that if they haven't already, by the next film, they will have surpassed their cost on that.
Yeah, easily.
And there's going to be so much more.
Yeah, easily.
Yeah.
And I'm actually really happy that Thrawn has made his comeback. Grand Admiral Thrawn, the only alien Grand Admiral of the Empire. He's an amazing figure. I mean, he wasn't canon for a while, because the sort of trilogy by Timothy Zahn that came out that sort of recounted the fate of the rebellion and of Luke Skywalker and all that after Return of the Jedi. It took over, like, I think a year ago or something, a year after that passed, and that was an amazing book series. So that is no longer canon because it just got killed. But the character Thrawn, that was the main antagonist in this thing, he came back, and he's just great because he's a very strategic thinker. But not only that, sort of he is a person that is actually sort of understanding his enemy by studying their art. He's studying pieces of art of that specific society, and then he's able to see their weaknesses, and that's amazing. I really like that.
he is my favorite character in the Star Wars universe by far.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's so many though. It would be difficult.
There really are.
Go on.
No, I was just going to say that I'm a little bit unhappy with how he's portrayed in Rebels, not on the strategic side, just because he's kind of slimy. He's kind of I don't know. He's kind of creepy.
Oh yeah, no, he shouldn't be that. Oh, I've not seen that. That would be sad. He's in the books. He's grand. He's sort of above the things.
Like high class.
Yeah, mainly
he has a lot of class.
Yeah, mainly because you see him from you never have his perspective in the books. You always have the perspective of his of his penultimate officer, one down the chain, Captain Peleon. He's always seeing this grand man who's always pulling out the amazing strategies. I really wouldn't want him to be slimy. That would be nasty.
And like the thing that I always loved about Grand Admiral Thrawn in the original saga books, that while the Empire had this whole thing where if you screwed up, they would just demote you or kill you.
Yeah.
Right? Thrawn was like, you screwed up, and I see where the problem is, so let me take you aside, and I'm going to explain to you where you screwed up and how you're going to be a much better officer moving forward. Which, from a personnel management point of view, is so much better. Like, it makes so much more sense, and he does that in the Rebels show, but at the same time, he always has this like almost cliche or B movie kind of I'm conniving, it's gonna be great, we're gonna let them into our trap type thing. It's just
a shame.
It's just annoying. Yeah, it's annoying.
That's a
that
shame.
way.
I mean,
It just sucks.
maybe though. I mean, maybe he doesn't have to do that during the Rebels phase. I mean, it sort of makes sense to preserve your forces after you've taken a major defeat, like the destruction of the second Death Star. I'm pretty sure that Thrawn knows that you cannot have many more defeats like that.
It's a good point.
You're just going to be gone. But if you have just sort of the rebellion as sort of the little thing that you can torture and annoy for your own fun, then you could go for that. It's a possibility.
That makes sense.
I absolutely love him though. It's really great. Great character.
Yeah.
Great books, by the way. Even if they are not canon, I don't care. They're great.
Oh yeah,
Read them.
no, agreed, absolutely. Before we move off this subject, I just want to give a short vocal open letter to Disney. Based on your decision to not release any of your videos, really, but especially the Star Wars movies in 4K Blu-ray, I would just like to say, fuck you. Okay, so, anyway, moving on.
Nice.
All right, well, that's really awesome. So, I guess that's our show for this week. So, Horath, what do you have coming up on your channel this next week?
Yeah, I'm definitely gonna play more CK2, more Monks and Mystics. I haven't had my fill of eating bishops and wives and all that. I really do want to become emperor.
Oh yes, a satanic emperor. That's what you want, right there.
Yeah, and then Satan is gonna rule over all of Europe. It's gonna be.
Is that actually a mechanic? Really? Please tell me. Please tell me that actually works.
I'm not sure if that works, but what I had is person that I'm currently playing is the child of Satan, right? I had him begotten by the second wife.
Like officially.
Yeah. By the second wife of my first character. She was basically screwed by a demon, and that is that guy. So
that's kind of hot. Anyway, moving on.
Yeah, right. So we're going to have Crusader Kings. We're going to have more Stellaris. I'm going to try to wrap that series up because that's has been going on for 130 episodes. So I think...
Holy crap, seriously?
Yeah.
Wow.
I think we're about done. We're in a very good position to take over the galaxy and all that. So that's going to be good. I'm playing Hegemony 3 currently. We're trying to take over Sicily, Syracuse. I'm about halfway there. I'm going to try to get that done in the next couple of weeks. And then I'm also playing Rimworld as the Flaming Muffalo Nomads. And just moved to a new...
Wait. The Flaming what?
The Flaming Muffalo Nomads.
That's an awesome name. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, so these guys are sort of tribal people, and because they live in the high north, they sort of have a fascination with fire. So I created the scenario so that each person that starts in that tribe has a 33% chance to be a pyromaniac because they love the fire so much. So they're going to start random fires when they're stressed out and all that. And yeah, sort of located with them to a new place, and I've sort of been trying to get them started over there. I'm playing them nomadic, so we're sort of migrating to a place where we have longer and longer growth time. So the game gets easier and easier for us, but we're being attacked by all kinds of shit, mechanoids and pirates and all that kind of crap. And
that's awesome.
Yeah, that's sort of what I have planned on the channel. I just reached 2,900 subscribers. I'm gonna hope that stuff continues actually, and yeah, I'm just gonna
Very
keep
nice.
those series open. And then there are going to be a couple of great Viking games actually coming up. The Great Well Road is coming out in March, and then in April there's going to be Expeditions Viking. So, and I bought a Viking helmet for that, so I'm gonna play those with face cam and stuff, and it's going to be
nice.
great.
That sounds great.
Without horns.
That's going to be awesome.
Without horns.
Yeah. On my channel, which you can find at youtube.com/Spotnyk. I don't know if actually did you list your URL?
No, I did not. It's Horath Drak. Horath with a TH at the end, and then Drak. Same name on Twitter, by the way, if you want to follow me for Twitter nonsense.
Yeah, and I'm Spotnyk on YouTube, and it's the same on Twitter as well. SPOTNYK. It's a play on Sputnik. It's a long time ago. Anyway, yeah, and I do strategy videos as well, although I haven't been doing many lately, simply just because I've been so busy. But there will be more coming. I'm not sure what's coming this week. I have a current series running up for Judgment, which is a early access game, which is very early access. But there has been a recent update, actually, to the combat in that game, which is pretty much like the worst part of that game. I mean, the game's very interesting, but like the combat is just like pretty much almost not worth your time whatsoever. So I'm actually very interested to see what the update has done and see if it has improved significantly. So that would be nice. So I may do a video on that. So yeah, that's about it. Thanks everybody for hanging out. We will be around next week as well. If you like the thing, please leave a rating on whatever you're listening to this on. That'd be wonderful. Yeah, ratings. We don't really care where they are. We just like that they're good. Just say good, and that's what we care about.
Yeah, we're trying to purposely half-ass this show because we're both sort of
exactly
perfectionists that don't really have the option of doing that. So we're doing our best to do it in here. And if I may say so, send us any comments or any stuff, questions for this thing. Do we have an email address or anything for this?
Sure. Yes, we do. It's actually posted in the show notes. Go look at that. This means I haven't actually created it yet. So just go look on the show notes, and then you can email us there, and we would love it because we'll probably talk about it on stream. Because the great thing about actually sending email or comments to a new podcast is that there aren't very many people doing it. So you have a higher chance of actually getting your email read during the podcast. So that should be an incentive to you.
Yes,
which would be quite nice.
Get your 30 seconds of internet fame. You'll be in here, and you're never gonna die. You're gonna be in here until humanity actually gets wiped out.
Yes, exactly. That's it. Yep. Yeah. So Horath, thank you for your time, and
it's been a blast, man.
We're the local gods, and I'm actually waiting for who first pops up and is like, I know where that reference is from, and we'll see. It'll be interesting.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. But I did not know the reference, by the way.
Anyway, so yes, thanks everyone for listening, and we'll see you next week. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.